Hello everybody, how we doing? Let me see in the chat who is joining us tonight for this live workshop. You're going to see me go back and forth between two monitors here unless the chat pops up on this window, and it might. It might. All right. First, a big shout out to my daughter, Alyssa, for helping me tonight get this all set up so that I can go live on Facebook and do it from this camera. Okay. So it looks like I have a few people here. So who is watching tonight? I can't see you the way that this is streaming, I don't think. All right, well, we're going to talk about goals and intentions. So are there any questions first? Like, is this your first time setting goals? Have you set goals before? Let me know in the comments kind of where you are so I know more how to cater my conversation around goals. I certainly don't want to be redundant and tell you a bunch of stuff that maybe you already know. Maybe it's your first time. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed either. So we're going to talk about goals and intentions and the difference and action steps getting us to those goals, so that you can achieve all the things in 2026. Okay. All right. So I'll jump in here. Okay, what's the difference in goals and intentions? So goals are a specific outcome that you're working toward. Direction, focus, measurable steps. If you have worked with goals before, you may know it as SMART goals. Be specific, measurable, attainable. Let's see if I can remember all of what they say about SMART goals. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and do it in a set a time measurement for it. So being intentional about setting goals that work for you, that you want to do. And then the difference between that and an intention is really a posture. It's really like your heart and mind behind your actions to kind of guide how you want to show up in life, if that's helpful. So I think it's important to set, for me personally, I can only speak for me personally, and then the ladies that I coach, but to set goals and intentions. All right, so sometimes also our goals, they're action steps, and so sometimes it might feel overwhelming at first, but hopefully this process will be simple for you. So again, if you have questions, pop them in the chat. If you have comments, if you're this is not new to you, is new to you, either way, just let me know. And hopefully more will jump in as we proceed. I will back up and tell you, if you don't know who I am, my name is Alice Ranker. I'm a life coach, a graphic designer. Among some other hats that I wear, I design this book. Let me turn it this way. Let me see if I can give you a better view of it. I design this. It's called the Grace-Filled Life Designer. It is a personal growth planner. But I'm not here to sell you anything, but I'm just going to let you know that I'm going to be working out of this book tonight. And so if you do want to purchase, that is, it will be available to you. You can just go to my website, but you don't need it to do goals and intentions. You can start with any paper, pen, notebooks to get started. So the first step that I would do is I would gather all of your thoughts and just brain dump. So I did this earlier this week. I got out big poster paper. I have it here beside me. I can show you if that's helpful. And I just wrote down all the things, all the areas of that I want to see some results in this year. I do this every year. Have done this every year for, probably about 10 years or so. Some years I'm more dedicated than others. But I do know that when I write things down, I'm more likely to achieve them because it just stays in front of me. It helps it to remain a focal point. So brain dump all the things. And I actually take a few days to do this. So I brain dump. I come back and look at it. Things pop up. I add more to the list. And then I go in and put them in categories. So I take all of the things that are like items, right, and put them in categories. For example, let me look at my paper. I might put all the hobbies together. So I want to scrapbook more this year. I want to focus more on creative writing this year, and doing things that are creative, any type of creative outlet. So those would be like items together, not necessarily three separate goals, if we're going to talk about goals first. So once you do that, you're going to put those in like items. You're going to categorize them together. And then once you have a clear understanding of what your areas are, then you're going to go from there. Okay. Are we on track so far? Everybody with me? Cool. It's interesting, like there's a delay on that screen from what I'm saying here. So I'm looking to see the comments and feedback, and I see myself moving. That's funny. All right. Hang on. I think we have a comment. Let me see. Okay, we're going to keep going. All right, what are some areas that you may find for goals? So what are some categories? I'll help you think while you're processing. So first, we're just still brain dumping. I just went through a process with you, but we're still brain dumping all the ideas. So think about areas of health and fitness. Think about your career skills you want to learn or obtain. Think about finances. Relationships. I'll go a little slower if you're trying to write them down. Personal growth, your mental well-being, home organization. I've already mentioned creativity or hobbies. Those are just some of the areas that you may find that you want to create goals around, or that you have already on your brain dump. So intentions, what are some intentions that you may have for the year? Cultivate more compassion, prioritize your well-being, connect with nature, practice gratitude. Those may be more places to set intentions. And then we'll go through what some of that might look like, what action steps would be for that. Give you a chance to catch up, make any notes that you wanted to make. Okay. So once you do your brain dump, we're going to put them into categories, then we're going to separate them out into action steps. And once you have set them into each category, let me know if that's helpful. I can give you some more examples of how to categorize them. Maybe, for example, you have declutter my closet. It's January. I really do like cleaning things out and decluttering at the beginning of the year. And I think not necessarily because it's January, but just because the house was so full during the holidays, that really getting very minimal in January and cleaning things out feels just really good. Like you can take a deep breath. So, okay, so declutter your closet. It may feel like a goal, but really it's an action step towards creating your peaceful home environment. Financial goals, save $100 a month is really an action step toward building your emergency fund, would be another example of how, if you have a whole lot on your paper that feels overwhelming, breaking them down into categories and what of these support this bigger idea may be helpful. Mental health could be one of them as well. You want, does that involve reading or finding a therapist or a coach or getting outside in nature more often? So these things could lead to the bigger idea. Okay. Are there any questions yet before we move further? then let's talk about intentions. What does it mean to set your intentions, and how can we do that? So, when I was reading over the list, prioritizing my well-being, one way that you can prioritize your well-being is by giving yourself permission around your boundaries. So think about in your life, what areas are not good for your well-being? What areas have you seen that you really flourish? How do you create more of those experiences? And how do you limit the ones that are draining or that tap your energy? Cause you to feel like you're not really being true to yourself. So how do you limit those? So you do that with permissions. So how do you give yourself permission? What permissions need to be in place in order for you to then do that and steer clear of that area? All right. All right, I'll break down some of those categories a little further for you. Health and wellness. So if on your list you have, how many times you want to go to the gym, steps you want to take, how much water you plan to drink. Mental health could also be part of that. How do you reduce your stress? Those types of things. All that would fall into the health and wellness. For your skills and career path. Learning a new skill. So is it taking a class? You can do that, professionally, online, lots of ways to do that. Reading could also fall in that category. Networking, focusing in time management, certifications, things that you can achieve. For finance, so anything having to do with your savings, with debt reduction, with your spending, budgeting, increasing your income, retirement contributions, any type of donations, they would all fall into your finance category. Relationships. I think your relationships could fall in both categories too, for goals as well as your intentions. Okay, so relationships. It's interesting because if you do have this life designer, and I'll share that with you later, but I have a place for you to keep track of several of these things that are on these lists that I found online to help me stay organized today. So spending more time with friends and family, nurturing connections, setting clear boundaries are all very helpful ways to keep track of your relationships. Personal growth, again, reading can fall into your personal growth category as well as your career category. It could fall into health and wellness. So I think it just depends on what is your focus or focal point for reading. Explore new topics, travel, develop a growth mindset, which can be done with books, podcasts, the people that you surround yourself with, as well as therapy and etc. Learning from other experiences. Home organization is another one that we talked about. So when we were talking about decluttering the closet, that falls under a bigger picture, bigger umbrella of home organization with repairs, making your space more functional. And then hobbies. Do you want to create a new hobby? Do you want to create, spend more time on an instrument or writing or cooking or any of those things? Gardening could also go back to your mental health. It could go back to health and wellness. So a lot of these are going to have areas of overlap depending on each individual and how you're wired, and how these things are going to activate in your life. Okay. So after you have your categories, then you're going to, again, break them up into what of those, identify which one is your main area topic, and then what of those in that category fall into your action steps for you to achieve that. And then we're going to set time limits. Not really time limits, that's not a good way to say that, but we're going to give ourselves some actionable steps within a time frame. So, let's say that it's our health goal, and we're going to get in so many steps or drink so much water in a day, right? So I'm just going to drink more water. That's pretty vague. So I'm going to drink, 3 of these bottles a day. or I'm going to walk for 30 minutes 3 times a week. So like, what are your actionable steps in order to achieve that for your savings? I'm going to cut this out and add this in. I'm going to DoorDash twice a week, or pick up this side job, or work these extra hours to add to this income. I'm also going to cut this spending here to achieve this bigger goal. So how does that lay out for you? All right. I also think it's important once you've established your overall goals. So we've brain dumped. So I'll go back to the beginning. We're going to brain dump all the categories. We're going to then give it some time to think it through. Add to, take away from, give it a few days, let it resonate with you. Then you're going to categorize those areas into like items. Some of them, again, could overlap. So it just is going to depend on, again, you know, for me, reading is one of my goals this year. Reading could go into my personal growth. Reading could go into creativity. And reading could go into my self-care category. So maybe put it in all the places that it fits, and then let it flesh itself out as you proceed through and see where it really resonates with you. And that may be different for everyone involved. Okay, so we have brain dumped, we have categorized, we now have given them actionable steps. So we have not just grouped them together, but we have separated them by hierarchy. So this is the main overall goal. These are the action steps that fall under that, how I'm going to achieve that, and then write that out separately. So now you have a clear path. You can see clearly what all your, I'll keep using the word goals, what all your goals are. And then from there, what's your focal point? Where is it you want to start? You can't start with everything all at one time. It's incredibly overwhelming. Most people will shut down and then not achieve anything, and we don't want that for you. So what is most important for you? How do you incorporate small pieces into your life? Then you can also do what's called habit stacking. So I'll stick with the health goal, for example. So I'm going to take my health goal and I'm going to spread it out over the week. And so for my steps, I'm going to say that every day when I take my lunch break at work, I'm going to walk laps around the block, or by the time I eat lunch, I will have filled my water bottle up twice. Or, you know, make sure that what you're doing is when you already have a framework in place and then you build on that framework, then you're more likely to achieve the thing you're trying to achieve. So if I want to read more, I have to tell myself, when am I going to do that thing? So I read in the mornings and I read in the evenings. I'm not going to stop in the middle of the day what I'm doing to read. It doesn't fit in my flow. Now, if I'm out of my house and I have an appointment and I'll be waiting in a waiting room, I'll take my book, because then I will read. But on a normal, regular basis, I have to stack things in a way that they're going to be easily achievable. And you want to build them that way. So it's called habit stacking. So how can you stack things so that it already fits with a routine and rhythm that you have? If you're not an early morning person, you might not want to put things in the morning. If you're a morning riser, then that might be when you have your burst of energy, that might be when you add things in. So keep that in mind, habit stacking. And then every month, you're going to think about what is your focus for the month, and then break that down each week. And then on your weekly calendar, what is your focus for the week, and then build it in. I think that the biggest thing is to be true to you. I think this is true for goals. I think it's true too for allowing yourself white space. I'll talk about that real quick, because as a coach, that's one thing that I see is we spread ourselves way too thin, especially women. I'm talking to you. We spread ourselves way too thin. Every available moment we give to the people around us. So it's okay to pencil yourself in as an appointment. Mark a day off and say, home day, my day, alone day, whatever you want to call it, and just give yourself some space. Look at your overall monthly calendar and where are you allowing sometimes people call it margin. Where's your margin? You have to give yourself room to breathe. So where is that happening? So while you're filling your calendar with these goals, it's exciting the beginning of the year to think about all the things that we have to look forward to. It's also important to make sure that you have time and space just for you. And I know I hear some of you laughing because you're like, you don't know my life and it's so full and so busy. I understand. You got little ones. I don't have little ones at this point in my life, but I have grandchildren and I have people in my life with lots of little ones. And so I understand that your time is precious and it's full. I also know that in order to give your best to those people that you love, that are the closest to you, you have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. So that's a side note. Thank you for the comment there. I see that over here though, not over there. So thank you. And let's see. Thank you. Okay. So, okay. And then building it in weekly. So I think it's also important, as I was saying, to build it in weekly. So how can you stack on whatever these goals are? You know, if it's a financial goal, where does it fit? If it's a health goal, where does it fit? If it's a relationship goal, where does it fit? My husband travels a lot for work, and so one thing that we try to do when he's home is we try to make sure that we have, we'll call it date night, but it's not necessarily a night, and we just try to make sure that we have some time set away that we are not at home, that we're actually spending some quality time together. As much as I like to be home, also because home can have its own distractions, so it's good to be home. It's also good to not be at home. So know your relationship, know what you need, and be able to what needs to be put in place so that you can do that. So, okay, are there any questions? I don't want to keep you guys long. I know that you're busy. I hit you right at probably dinner and bath time and wind down time from your day. I will make this available on my page, I think, so that you can come back to it and check it out later. And again, this is not an ad, but if you want the Grace-Filled Life Designer, let's see, the angles are weird. The Grace-Filled Life Designer, you can get it at my website at gracefulimpact.net. This is not an ad for that though. I just really want you to achieve all the things that you want to achieve. And if I can help you do that in any way, then I would love to be able to help you do that. I don't want you to ever think that you have to do this alone. Because sometimes life is hard and sometimes it's just a lot easier to go through it with other people, and we achieve more, I think, when we do it as a community than when we try to do things alone. So, oh, hey, Hannah, I'm so glad you're going to listen to this later. Yeah, I hope you do. And let me know, again, to reach out to me if you have questions, and I'll come in and check once I post this to my stream that if you have any questions later, you can always pop in and ask me. If I went too fast over any area, then you can ask for clarification over that area, but I'll go over it one more time. Overview. So first you're going to brain dump all the things. Brain dump all the ways that you come up with of things that you want to change or evolve or expand or even stop in your life. So start there. And then put those in categories. Okay, and this is for your goals. Put them in categories. Once you have them in categories, create the hierarchy. What of these support the other thing? And then put them all together. Some of the categories, again, could be health and fitness. Think about all the areas of your life too, not just like, it could be a spiritual goal. It could be finance. It could be relationships, your personal growth, your mental well-being. It could be things around your home. It could be creativity, hobbies, things of that nature. So you're going to take them and categorize them and then give yourself the action steps, because a lot of times, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but I don't know when you've jumped in, and I just want to make sure that you see this, or hear this part, that when you put everything on the paper, it may feel overwhelming, but once you start to categorize and you pull things together into like groups, then it takes some of the overwhelm away. Then you're going to, again, decide what of those are your action steps. What of those are your actual goals? And then you're going to create them, add them to your month, add them to your week based on how that fits best for you. And if you need help trying to figure that out, I would be more than happy to give you some insight and talk with you about that. For your intentions, remember, intentions are a little different. Intentions are the way you want to show up in the world. Intentions are, an example I have is, how do I want to live and be in the process? And it is always a process. Life is always a process. So, some of those things can be cultivating more compassion. How do you cultivate more compassion? Read books. Read books is a great way to have compassion. Listen to people's stories. I have found the most incredible sense of emotion when I hear people's stories, documentaries, biographies, memoirs, things like that, because you're like, wow, I had no idea. People are just really amazing. And when you hear their story, I think it creates such compassion for people in general. Connect with nature. I do really good connecting with nature. It has been, having chickens is a big one for me. It makes me get outside, especially when the weather is not pretty. Having a garden helps. Getting my hands dirty, walking barefoot, not so much right now. We have too many chickens to walk barefoot. But being outside in nature really helps me stay grounded. It helps me stay calm. So think about what it is you need. So when you're focusing on your goals, think about not just achieving and producing, also think about being. So who is it you want to be? And then how are we going to get there is a huge one. So, oh, that's a great suggestion. Listening to podcasts when you're at work, or on your drive to work, is another great one. So that's great feedback, Alyssa. Thank you for sharing that. I think podcasts are also a great way to decompress. I think they're a great way to learn, and I think they're a great outlet for lots of things. So find your rhythm, find the one that works best for you. So I just want to thank everyone tonight for showing up. Maria, hi Maria. Nature centers your energy too. Yes. Barefoot in the grass when I can, feet in the ocean sand, absolutely. Super excited to have y'all join me tonight. So thank you for that. And hopefully we can pop back in. I would love to do more of these if there is a need or desire from the community to do that. I would love to pop in once a week, once a month, not more than once a week. Once a week or once a month, just to kind of help you stay centered, to give you a place to land when you're thinking about goals, when you're working on personal growth. I would love to just give you a place to be. So thank you so much for joining. Oh, hi Jay. I'm so glad you joined too. Good deal. This makes me really happy. So I just hope it's helpful. It's my desire to empower other women. I have had many contribute to my life, and so if I can give back, that is my heart. I love being a part of a community full of women, and so I'm super happy that y'all joined. So thank you for that. Yeah, Hannah, I know we need nature for sure. So again, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to cut it now. We've been here about 30 minutes, so thank you. Get back to your families. Get back to your big list making. And again, if you have anything that you need help with, just please reach out. I would be more than happy to stand beside you and offer some input. So have a great night. Thanks.